Genshin Impact has forever changed what we think a gacha game is and what they could be. It was the first of its kind, and with the timing of COVID, it was made very popular. The representation of other cultures in Genshin is very relevant in its world building, but a certain debate has brought up about misrepresentation through the design, or a bit more specific, the skin tone of characters. Hi, my name is Roseray, and I've been playing Genshin Impact since launch and recently started to stream it this year. A bit of my background, as this topic weighs heavy on me. I studied music education with an emphasis in ethnomusicology. If you're not familiar with what ethnomusicology is, it's studying music from different cultures around the world. For my graduation project, I did a research paper on the representation of cultures in Genshin Impact through its music. If you're interested in that, please comment down below as I can make a separate video on it. Genshin has done a great job of representing cultures through their music, food, and fashion within the game. One aspect that has brought up that falls very short on the subject is the skin tone of many characters that can naturally have dark skin due to the region Sumeru and now Natlan. Now Sumeru was inspired by Sumerian, Egyptian, and the Middle East. Natlan is inspired by many Latin cultures. These cultures all depict a darker skin tone for many of its people. The problem with Genshin is that they do not necessarily have dark skinned characters, and yes, they do have some tan characters, but it's not the same as having dark skin. So why is this upsetting many fans of the game? We have two sides, many fans not being complacent and agreeing that we do need change but will still enjoy the game as is, and on the other side, others boycotting the game and not spending money or just not playing it. I want to look at each side of the argument. Many fans have spoken up about representation as they do not have a character in the game they can relate to on an appearance level. Now, representation in media is overall important as it promotes inclusivity, diversity, which helps broaden perspectives. Media that includes diverse characters and stories help audiences understand and appreciate different cultures, lifestyles, and perspectives. It also reduces stereotypes by presenting complex and multifaceted portrayal of different groups. Let's jump to the past on Yunjin. She brought so much awareness on Peking opera to the Western world, and it was by far my favorite thing to ever come out of Genshin Impact, as I myself am an opera singer. Many content creators were baffled at the style of singing, but once understood, it garnered such a positive reaction that even the singer herself could not foresee this much success from that one song. This was done correctly and authentically, as even in English version of the game, Yunjin sang in Chinese. Another example of this was Furina's song, and despite Genshin not having any French voice acting, they went out of their way to get a French singer for Furina's song. This proves that Hoyoverse can get it right. I would also like to point out in an interview with Yu Chenpeng, Hoyoverse's first musical composer and director, they stated that they wanted to use the London Philharmonic for Mondstadt, the Hong Kong Philharmonic for Liyue, and the Tokyo Philharmonic for Inazuma. He stated that he wanted to capture the authenticity of the music not just through the instruments but through the musicians themselves. This brought an entire new layer to the music, and we see that with Raiden Shogun's theme inspired by the Japanese folk song Sakura Sakura and the melody of Greensleeves in Dawn Winery's music. This is such a deep level of representation done right, and I'm saddened that he left Hoyoverse, although the music will always be amazing. The food is another aspect of culture in which Genshin does a great job, as each region has its own menu. The fashion is another aspect in the character's design that, while Genshin does take artistic liberties, it still comes close to the culture for each region. Hoyoverse did such a great job in Inazuma and Liyue by making the player feel immersed in that specific region's culture, but why go this far and not include accurate skin colors for other regions that are in the game or across the board, as dark skin tones are across many nationalities and cultures. Many games outside of Hoyoverse did a great job in representation. One game I find myself to play on stream is Overwatch. This game has a great cast of characters, each representing their respective country, and what do you know, they have many different skin tones. They go beyond that and even drop some of the character sexuality by showing their relationships and their partners, which is quite nice and an additive for representation. The issue with the Natlan is that many characters are inspired by gods and goddesses of ancient Latin cultures. For example, a comparison circulating Twitter right now is Ororon, I hope I said that right, I'm very sorry if I didn't, who is inspired by Oloron, who is a Yoruba god of the heavens. It does not take long to notice the difference between the inspiration and the character. Now I get it, this is a fantasy game, and Genshin can take their artistic liberties with it, but again, the issue is not solely on that, but not having any darker skin tones within the game. Also, some may say this is a massive misrepresentation of their culture. Another example is Chaska, who is an Incan god with a very tan skin tone, and the difference is noticeable yet again. Many notable people within the Genshin community have spoken up about this issue. Sucrose' voice actor, Valeria Rodriguez, who also voices Venture in Overwatch, has spoken up about colorism not only in the game but in Mexico. In a tweet, they stated how the more Unocentric in Spanish you look and the less indigenous Mayan you look, the more value or beauty you have. Other voice actor, Brenna Thornton, who is a Latina in the industry, was excited for Natlan and to see the Latin American influence in the game and to see their representation. They were quite disappointed by the outcome, as culture is not viewed as some template. They need to commit for representation. Well, it's pretty plain to see that many people outside of Genshin and the ones voicing it are having trouble with this issue. So, what's going on with Genshin then? If they have done such a great job of representation through other means, why skin tones? Why is skin tone such a big issue? Now, I want to go back to what Valeria Rodriguez, Sucrose's voice actor, said. They brought up a good point. The more light-skinned you look, the more beautiful you are to many cultures. And I gotta say this, Genshin Impact is a Chinese game, and the beauty standard within that sphere might have bled into the game. I'm also not blaming one person but the collective. White skin was or still is a phenomenon that is prevalent in Chinese culture through history that originally began as a representation of social class. People with lighter skin tones are seen to be more well taken care of, while the darker skin tones are associated with working outside in the fields and seen as poor. Hoyoverse also might want to capitalize on gaining profits, so they whitewash their characters due to beauty standards in the world, not only in East Asia, because as Valeria Rodriguez stated, it also happens in Mexico. We have also seen the rise of skin whitening products that has increased tremendously among Asian women. The cultural desire for pale skin can be attributed to colorism, although the claims that these products can reduce the darkness of one's skin are rather dubious. East Asian women have expressed their interest in skin whiteners. There is a correlation between colorism and consumerism. Whitening products being bought was considered a high status within itself, not just using them, as these were seen as a luxury item. With that being said, is Hoyoverse wanting to capitalize on gaining profits, so they whitewash their characters due to the beauty standards in East Asia? Now, is this racism? Well, yes and no. In terms of definition, yes, this is racism, as whitewashing a character eliminates diversity and inclusivity. Is this being done intentionally or subconsciously? This is where it becomes a bit of a gray area, as the standards of beauty have been embedded in the cultures of East Asia for centuries that this is the norm. Now, does this make it okay? Absolutely not. There is no way why we shouldn't have darker skin tone colors for representation and diversity in games at this day and age. I want to say the other side of the argument. Now, the other side of the argument is not defending Genshin Impact. They're not really, saying, I mean, you do have those people that will be like, you guys cry for everything. I get it. Genshin Impact's community is a cluster of personalities, to say the least. Now, on the other side, many players say they do not see color and just want to enjoy the game or understand that this is an issue, but they don't believe Hoyoverse will resolve this issue. Many people of color have lighter skin tones. For example, many people of color saw the Natlan trailer and were excited to see themselves in characters because they did embody the Latin culture through their fashion or appearance and were as light-skinned as them. Media has always given us the stereotypical Mexican or Latin character being brown, but many of us lighter skinned Latinos are not dark enough for our Latin brethren. This may be why many players are connecting with these characters and kind of feel a little bit offended. Now, this is just a theory based off of a few replies and interviews I was able to gain within my own community and some research that I did. So now, is there an issue with whitewashing the characters in Genshin Impact? In plain terms, yes, there is. But the issue is not only within Genshin, but overall media. An article by Jennifer Williams called The Ratio of Virtual Blackness notes that specifically in video games, people of darker skin color and notably black people do not find themselves represented with as much variety as their lighter skin counterparts in video games and throughout media. This is not just Genshin Impact, but this is across all video games. The lack of diversity in gaming development teams is also a critical barrier. Due to their own cultural biases, this may lead to a narrow portrayal of a character and experiences, diminishing the global reliability of games. Having a diverse development team can infuse various perspectives, giving a richer narrative and enhancing the relevance and reach of gaming content to a broader audience. This is a whole bigger issue than within the Genshin Impact community, but within the gaming industry. What I ask of you all is to speak up against the issue and conduct some research while also being respectful to those players that do not want to boycott the game, as that is their decision to make. Being free to play also doesn't make you a better person. You are still supporting the game. Change is done through time, patience, empathy, education. Also, do not go after Genshin content creators, as many of them have families to feed, and this is the game they have created a fan base and income with. I ask you all to be kind on this issue. This does not mean to be complacent and quiet, but rather start conversations, not arguments. My name is Roseray. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and comment down below on any questions you have, the stance you are taking. I will see you all on my next video.